Nick Carter, the heartthrob of the globally successful boy band Backstreet Boys, was one of the biggest pop stars of the 90s. His striking looks and undeniable talent made him a household name, with millions of fans worldwide and a career that spanned decades. Meanwhile, his younger brother AaronCarter followed in his footsteps, carving out his own teen pop sensation status with chart-topping hits and a sparkling, carefree persona. Together, the Carter brothers lived a life that many could only dream of: luxurious mansions, flashy cars, yachts, and a network of A-list friends, living the epitome of fame and success, seemingly enjoying the rewards of their hard work and talent. But beneath the glitz and glamour, there was an undercurrent of tension. The boys' success caused their family structure to deteriorate, which caused it to fall apart behind the scenes. Their parents' volatile relationship reached a breaking point, leading to a highly publicized divorce that left a lasting impact on their children. As the family fractured, so did their sense of stability. For Nick, the eldest, fame was both a blessing and a burden. His escalating behavior, marked by public outbursts and brushes with the law, hinted at deeper struggles beneath his polished pop star persona. Meanwhile, Aaron, thrust into the limelight at a young age, grappled with the pressures of growing up under constant scrutiny. Their home life became a storm of financial disputes, emotional wounds, and unresolved trauma. The glamorous facade was hiding a darker, more complicated reality, where the price of fame came with personal and emotional costs that no amount of wealth could cure. The Carter family's story begins in 1979 when Robert and Jane Carter married. Together, they would eventually have 5 children, with Nick Carter being the firstborn in 1980. Seeking new opportunities and a change of pace, the Carters moved to Florida, where their children would grow up. This move marked the beginning of a new chapter, with Florida becoming the backdrop for the family's future ambitions. While the family faced their share of financial struggles, it was clear that their children, particularly Nick and Aaron, would become the central figures in the family's future. Their upbringing in a family deeply rooted in music, performance, and entertainment would soon pay off in ways they never imagined. During the early 90s, the world of pop music was dominated by the explosion of boy bands. At the time, groups like New Kids on the Block and New Edition were paving the way for the boy band phenomenon, drawing massive crowds and becoming international superstars. This was the environment that Nick Carter was thrust into when he joined the Backstreet Boys in 1993. The Backstreet Boys, formed in Orlando, Florida, their sound, blending pop with R&B, was crafted to appeal to both young girls and mainstream pop music fans alike. Initially, the Backstreet Boys struggled to find their footing in the US, where the charts were dominated by grunge rock led by Nirvana and Pearl Jam, and the emergence of gangsta rap through artists like Tupac, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg, and a growing fascination with R&B, fueled by artists such as Boyz II Men and Whitney Houston. Instead, the group found their first wave of success overseas. In Europe, particularly in Germany, the appetite for catchy, polished pop music was insatiable. The Backstreet Boys quickly became a sensation, with singles like We've Got It Going On and Quit Playing Games with My Heart dominating charts. Their European success built momentum, allowing the group to refine their style and stage presence while cultivating a loyal international fan base. By the mid-1990s, the global music landscape began shifting once again. The rise of the Spice Girls in 1996 reignited a global love for pop music. Their girl power anthem and infectious energy opened the door for a resurgence of bubblegum pop, creating a cultural moment ripe for boy bands to make their mark in the US. The Backstreet Boys capitalized on this shift, with their self-titled debut album making waves stateside. The release of Backstreet's Back in 1997 marked a turning point. With hits like Everybody, Backstreet's Back, and As Long As You Love Me, they achieved the perfect mix of danceable beats, heartfelt ballads, and anthems that resonated with both teenage fans and mainstream audiences. Their appeal was undeniable, and they quickly became one of the most recognizable pop acts in the world. This success culminated in 1999 with the release of Millennium, a cultural juggernaut that solidified their status as global superstars. Featuring iconic tracks like I Want It That Way Larger Than Life, and Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely, the album became a defining soundtrack of its time. Its polished production and universal themes spoke to a generation navigating the cusp of a new millennium.
The sophomore album from the Fierce Fivesome sold 500,000 copies on its first day, almost what Ricky sold in a week.
500,000 in one day. It scares me to see how good this album could really do.
Man, are they hot. And the Backstreet Boys are now going global. They kick off their world tour a week from today in Belgium.
Nick's boyish good looks and powerful voice made him the heartthrob of the group. His popularity soared alongside the Backstreet Boys' success, which included sold-out tours, music videos on heavy rotation on MTV, and a fan base that spanned continents. The group's success wasn't just about catchy pop tunes, it was also a cultural phenomenon. Their music videos, concerts, and public appearances made them global superstars, dominating the airwaves and youth culture in the late 90s. NickCarter, alongside his bandmates AJ McLean, Howie Dorough, Kevin Richardson, and Brian Littrell, became synonymous with 90s pop music, securing their place in history. AaronCarter's rise as a solo artist came quickly after his brother Nick's success with the Backstreet Boys. While Nick was dominating the charts with the group, Aaron carved out his own space in the pop world, debuting with his self-titled album in 1997 at just 9 years old. Songs like Crush on You showcased his playful, age-appropriate themes, while his animated stage presence and endearing interviews revealed a natural performer who was comfortable in the spotlight. On one hand, he was a wide-eyed, innocent kid singing bubblegum pop, but on the other, he was stepping into an industry filled with immense pressures and expectations, making him a product of a time when child stars were increasingly becoming a staple in the entertainment industry. The pressures of a burgeoning music career meant he had to sacrifice the normal experiences of childhood. Long hours in recording studios, grueling tour schedules, and constant public appearances left little time for him to develop friendships or explore hobbies outside the spotlight.
Like many child stars, Aaron travels with a personal tutor so he doesn't fall behind with his schoolwork.
32? 32.
Also with him, his personal bodyguard, Biscuit, and his mother, Jane, who acts as his manager and generally keeps him in line.
Everybody wants to give him presents all the time, and he gets so much adulation, but I have to bring him down to earth and say, no, well, you have a nice talent that you can share with people to make people happy, but that doesn't make you a better than anyone else.
Jane is often accused of being a pushy showbiz mum, but she says her main role is protecting Aaron.
We have to get going too. It's really kind of good that I'm his manager as well as his parent, because I can see when he's had enough and say, hey, that's it. I'm not going to allow people to take advantage.
The album was a modest success, but it was his second album, Aaron's Party, Come Get It, released in 2000, that propelled him into the spotlight and solidified his place as a teen pop sensation. Aaron's Party, Come Get It was a massive hit, featuring chart-topping singles like I Want Candy, That's How I Beat Shaq, and Aaron's Party, Come Get It. With its upbeat, catchy tunes and Aaron's boy next door charm, the album quickly went platinum and introduced him to a wide audience of young fans. His image as a cute, innocent teen heartthrob was central to his appeal. His floppy blonde hair, wide smile, and youthful energy made him a favorite among preteens and teenagers who couldn't get enough of his songs. Though Aaron was Nick's younger brother, he was able to carve out his own identity in the music industry. While his early career was often compared to Nick's, Aaron made sure to develop a brand of his own that focused on his youthful, carefree persona and catchy pop music. He was able to capitalize on the massive success of his brother while still standing out as a solo artist, creating a distinct image of his own in the world of teen pop. When asked about being known as Nick Carter's little brother, Aaron responded, "I prefer to be myself, but I'll always be Nick Carter's little brother, and that's cool with me." Aaron and Nick shared a close bond that was evident both in their personal lives and public appearances. Despite the pressures of growing up in the spotlight, the brothers leaned on each other as they navigated the highs and lows of fame. Their relationship was marked by camaraderie, mutual support, and a shared understanding of what it meant to grow up in the entertainment industry. They often appeared together at red carpet events and award shows, dressed in matching outfits and enjoying the limelight as a duo. Their appearances were a reflection of their close bond, with the brothers reveling in their shared stardom. Whether it was attending awards shows or participating in press events, the Carters became a recognizable team, often seen together in interviews, on stage, in videos, and in public spaces. Their playful, fun-loving dynamic was a favorite of fans who loved seeing the brothers' chemistry and unity. With their success in the music industry, the Carter brothers were not only stars in their own right, but also symbols of the American dream, living a life filled with excess and indulgence. The family moved into sprawling, multi-million-dollar homes that reflected their newfound wealth, from lavish mansions to beachfront estates. Aaron, while still younger, was also enjoying the perks of his success, often photographed attending star-studded events and living a life of luxury. One of their most notable friendships was with pop icon Michael Jackson. The Jackson family was a fixture in the world of music, and Michael's influence on both Nick and Aaron was immense. The Carter brothers were seen at Michael's Neverland Ranch, where they were treated like royalty. Their bond with the King of Pop signaled their status in the entertainment industry, as it was documented and reported that Michael Jackson was a mentor and a friend to both. Aaron often spoke about Michael's kindness and generosity, emphasizing how the King of Pop treated him with respect and encouragement, despite the vast difference in their ages and statuses in the industry. At just 13 years old, Aaron was invited to perform at Michael Jackson's 30th anniversary celebration in 2001. Aaron delivered an electrifying rendition of I Want Candy, earning cheers from an audience that included Jackson himself. For Aaron, it was a surreal moment, performing in honor of the very artist who had inspired him. Just days later, the tragic events of 9/11 shook the world. In the aftermath, Michael Jackson spearheaded the tribute song What More Can I Give, intended to raise funds for those affected by the attacks. The charity single brought together an all-star cast, including Mariah Carey, Beyoncé, Celine Dion, Justin Timberlake, his brother Nick, and many more, with Aaron as one of the youngest participants. The song, which united an array of musical talents, reflected the humanitarian spirit Michael consistently advocated, and Aaron's inclusion symbolized not only his growing stature in the industry, but also the personal trust Michael placed in him. The landscape changed dramatically in November of 2003 when Michael Jackson was arrested on allegations of child molestation, leading to a highly publicized trial in 2005. This period tested the loyalty of those close to Michael as public opinion divided and media scrutiny reached a fever pitch. For AaronCarter, who had spent time at Michael's Neverland Ranch and knew him personally, the allegations were deeply troubling, not because he believed them, but because he felt Michael was misunderstood and wrongly vilified.
What are your thoughts on everything Michael's been going through and all the accusations now against him?
I think he's stupid, because I know for a fact he likes girls. Trust me.
Okay, how do you know for a fact that he likes girls?
Because I've seen him with girls. I've seen him walk up to a girl, and get her number, and call her up and talk to her and say, hey, baby, what are you doing?
You ever seen him kiss a girl, hold hands with a girl?
Yeah, I've seen him kiss a girl before. Oh, yeah, I've seen him totally make out with a girl before.
Where was that? Was that at his ranch or?
I was at his ranch, yeah.
Do you know who the girl was?
Just like a fan or something.
You hung out with him when you were how old the first time?
I was 14.
Were there children there when you were visiting?
There were about 5 or 6 kids there.
And you never saw anything inappropriate?
No, I never saw anything.
His public support stood in contrast to the wave of negative press surrounding Michael, a bold move for a young celebrity who could have distanced himself to avoid controversy. Aaron, in particular, also became a tabloid fixture due to his romantic relationships with two of the biggest young stars of the era, Lindsay Lohan and Hilary Duff. Aaron's high-profile relationships with these two beloved actresses added fuel to the fire of media attention. In many ways, the brothers became trapped by their own success, as their lives were dissected daily by the media and consumed by their fans. The intense media attention took a toll on both brothers, especially as their personal lives became more turbulent. As the years progressed, NickCarter's life became increasingly chaotic behind the scenes. Despite his early success with the Backstreet Boys, Nick was struggling with a desire to break free from his teen heartthrob image. By 2002, Nick's behavior began to raise concerns. On January 2, 2002, he was arrested at a nightclub in Tampa, Florida. The incident occurred after police were called to the nightclub following reports of a heated disturbance. According to reports, Nick refused to leave the club when asked, leading to an altercation with officers.
NickCarter, shown here flashing a peace sign just hours before his brush with the law, was arrested at the Tampa nightclub Pop City Wednesday for allegedly ignoring police orders.
After 10 or so warnings, he was subsequently arrested for resisting or opposing a police officer without violence.
According to Tampa police spokesman Joe Durkin, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed 21-year-old pop star was handcuffed and ticketed after refusing police orders to shut up and leave the club after a fight broke out. The cops say Nick wasn't being violent. He just wouldn't stop arguing with a woman.
He's kind of the last of the Backstreet Boys that you'd expect to get arrested.
While he later claimed it was a misunderstanding, the arrest marked a turning point for Nick's reputation, painting him as a rebellious celebrity unable to handle the pressures of fame. A couple of days later, looking to explain the situation, Nick called into MTV Total Request Live, simply stating he was, quote, in the wrong place at the wrong time. Further stating, I can tell you I did not do anything wrong, and I know that for a fact. If I disrespected a cop in any way, I, apologize.
I gotta ask, I mean, you've talked to the band, obviously. What was that conversation like, and who was the first person that you did speak with?
What, with the other guys?
Yeah.
Well, they called up, and they knew it was blown out of proportion. I got a call from Kevin. He was like, what happened, little bro? And left a message because he was up in the mountains. I'm like, so I called him back and left this big message and told him basically what happened. But, I mean, again, unfortunately, this is the kind of stuff that happens sometimes. But, I mean, just to let everybody know, I ain't a bad person. I've never been in trouble my whole life. I was basically in tears almost.
Right, it's sort of blown out of proportion. Oh, Nick.
The public perception of Nick as the bad boy began to form, despite his attempts to distance himself from the clean-cut image associated with his boy band persona. By 2001, the Backstreet Boys had reached a crossroads. Their 2000 album, Black and Blue, was a commercial success, but internal struggles and a changing music industry led to a hiatus. The group decided to take a break, citing burnout and the need for individual growth. During this hiatus, Nick decided to strike out on his own. This pause provided an opportunity for Nick to pursue his long-held desire to create a solo album and carve out his own identity as a solo artist. In November 2002, he released his first solo album, Now or Never, in an attempt to step out from the Backstreet Boys, shadow, and reinvent himself as a solo artist. The album leaned into a more rock-inspired sound, contrasting with the pop ballads that made him famous. Despite his efforts, Now or Never had moderate success, debuting at number 17 on the Billboard 200, but failed to establish Nick as a breakout solo artist in the vein of Justin Timberlake, who had just released Justified to critical and commercial acclaim.
He burst onto the music scene, of course, as one-fifth of the pop group NSYNC. Now with his solo debut album, Justified, Justin Timberlake wants to prove that he can make the difficult transition from teen idol to soul man. Hi, Justin, how are you?
What a lovely intro.
Unlike Justin Timberlake, who leaned heavily into R&B influences to redefine his sound, Nick's pop rock approach was less in tune with the trends of the time. Nick stated, "I'm somebody who has got a single out that might not be meeting the expectations of what people thought. I'm just doing what's coming out of me. I have a really hard time faking who I am. I have such a passion for rock music." Further stating, "When people listen to the music and when they see me perform, I think that's the one time that they'll really understand what I'm doing is for real. I'm not here to fool anybody or follow a trend." Nick's frustrations were compounded by comparisons to Timberlake, whose transition from NSYNC frontman to solo superstar seemed seamless. Meanwhile, Nick struggled to escape the teen idol image, leading to a period of erratic behavior, excessive partying, and a growing sense of isolation. The fame and wealth that once bonded the Carter family began to drive a wedge between them, particularly between the siblings and their mother, Jane Carter. As the family's manager, Jane had overseen much of Aaron and Nick's early success. However, by 2003, tensions erupted when Aaron accused his mother of stealing money from his earnings. Aaron's career, which had peaked with his 2000 album Aaron's Party, Come Get It, had slowed down, leading to increased scrutiny over how his finances were managed. The accusations against Jane deeply fractured the family dynamic, and Aaron made the difficult decision to fire her as his manager in 2003. This betrayal of trust, coupled with the ongoing turmoil in his parents' relationship, pushed Aaron to side with his father Robert and take drastic measures to protect his interests. This alignment influenced Aaron's choice to seek emancipation from his mother, viewing it as a necessary step to gain control over his finances and career. Nick, too, had a strained relationship with Jane. While he supported his brother, he also distanced himself from the escalating family drama. The Carters, once seen as a tight-knit unit, were now plagued by mistrust and accusations, further eroding their public image. With tensions between their parents, Jane and Robert Carter, coming to a boiling point. After years of marital strife, exacerbated by the stress of managing the careers of their children, constant fights, arrest, and financial pressures, the couple's marriage ended in a highly publicized divorce in 2003. For Nick and Aaron, the divorce represented the collapse of their family unit. The emotional toll was particularly heavy on Aaron, who had always been close to his mother. He reportedly felt betrayed by her actions and the increasing tensions in the family, which were fueled by accusations of financial mismanagement and personal disputes. Stating to the New York Post, "The funny thing is, as soon as Mom and Dad split up, the only person that went with my mom was me. She didn't want any of my sisters after a while, and I started figuring out why." Most notably, the crumbling foundation of this family was during this tumultuous time that Aaron filmed his episode of MTV Cribs, showcasing what was supposed to be a happy and picture-perfect household. Just before the cameras arrived to film his segment, Aaron learned that his parents, Jane and Robert Carter, were divorcing. Aaron, still a teenager, was left to process this devastating news on his own. The timing couldn't have been worse. Aaron was about to welcome MTV Cribs into his family home, a space he now knew would never be the same. The home, filled with symbols of familial unity, suddenly felt like a facade. Yet, as the cameras arrived, Aaron had to put on a brave face, navigating the gap between his public persona and his private turmoil, showcasing the house with youthful enthusiasm, pointing out family portraits, and highlighting shared memories. To the audience, it looked like a happy, thriving household, exactly what the show intended to portray. But for Aaron, each family photo and shared memory he pointed to was a reminder of the life he felt was slipping away. The family that had supported his rise to fame and shared in his triumphs was falling apart. He later described the moment as deeply disillusioning, as though the idyllic world he had been trying to maintain was nothing more than a facade. Aaron stated, "They're like, we're divorcing. It's official. You need to pick which parent you want to go with. So I had to go, and I had to show all the cameras in my life and what I was losing. The depression was brought on because I love my family being together. I did not want to see them divorce." The steady drama in the family reached a shocking low point in January 2004, when Jane Carter was arrested for physically attacking Robert Carter's girlfriend, Ginger Elrod. The incident occurred after Jane broke into Robert's home in Florida through a window while the couple was sleeping. According to reports, Jane attacked Elrod, leaving her with visible injuries, including scratches and bruises. Law enforcement was called to the scene, and Jane was charged with battery. The arrest made headlines, further tarnishing the Carter family's already strained reputation.
The girl was Ginger Elrod. She and Bob were to be married in less than 2 months, once Jane and Bob were divorced.
I said, "Honey," I said, "it's time to go." And she's like, Bob, do something.
If I get there, glass is broken, there's blood dripping down the door, and, I hear screaming.
And Bob's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what, Jane, this isn't good.
And I was trying to restrain her, and she is a wild woman. She was just ripping up and throwing stuff all over the place.
I pinned my mom down in the bed. She kicked me in my face and threw me off of her.
I ended up throwing a remote control at her, and then I got arrested.
It fell to Aaron to summon the cops to the house, where they took Jane into custody.
I wanted it to stop.
It was your son who called 911 on you.
Mm-hmm. Bob told him to.
How did that make you feel?
I couldn't believe what was happening.
The charges would be dismissed. Jane's feelings could not be.
For the children, the incident was another painful reminder of the chaos in their family life. Media coverage of their mother's actions and family conflicts put Nick and Aaron, two well-known public figures, under intense scrutiny.
What's the price of fame for you?
It's been the loss of my family.
What do you think the price of fame was for your family?
Self-destructing. Like a tornado just came through our house and family got tossed everywhere.
By 2005, Nick's life had become a whirlwind of tabloid headlines and personal challenges. In March of that year, he was arrested for DUI, an incident that exposed his escalating drinking problems. Nick had been battling these issues for years, partly fueled by the pressures of being thrust into the spotlight as a teenager, and partly as a way of coping with the unresolved family drama that had plagued the Carters for years. Adding to the chaos was Nick's highly publicized relationship with Paris Hilton, an heiress whose fame was bolstered by her wild party girl persona and reality TV success on The Simple Life.
I solemnly swear
that
I will faithfully preserve, protect, and defend.
That I will faithfully preserve, protect, and defend.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay.
Their whirlwind romance became a tabloid staple, with photos of the couple frequenting nightclubs and Hollywood hotspots.
We had to ask, what originally attracted the pop singer to the Hilton heiress?
I always get lost for words when I think about that because this is actually the first time anybody's asked me this. So I really like her. She's cool to hang out with. She's got a really good personality. She's outgoing. Right after Christmas, started hanging out with her. And it was just kind of like, just met her and kind of kicked it off and it was good.
However, the relationship was far from stable. Paris' reputation as a provocateur and Nick's struggles with alcohol made their union a combustible mix, culminating in a messy and public breakup in July 2004. On July 29th, just a week after the split, Hilton was photographed at Los Angeles International Airport with visible marks on her arms and lips. The images that showed Hilton with a swollen lip and multiple bruises on her arms sparked immediate speculation and fueled rumors of potential abuse in her relationship with NickCarter. 4 nights prior, Hilton had been out with her sister Nikki, actress friend Bijou Phillips, and Nick's younger brother AaronCarter. It was reported that the group made stops at several nightclubs and Joseph's Cafe, where they unexpectedly encountered Nick. Accounts vary about what transpired, but tensions seem to have been high. Allegedly, AaronCarter was there on a mission to gather information about whether Hilton had been unfaithful to Nick, signaling underlying issues in the relationship. This incident became a focal point in the first episode of House of Carters, where Nick and Aaron argued heatedly, with Nick accusing Aaron of being untrustworthy due to his involvement in the situation.
Attention! All because of the Paris situation.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. We're gonna get this open right now. Everybody wants to know the truth. You wanna know why I don't trust my brother? Why he doesn't respect me? I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I broke up with Paris, this guy takes her out, gets roses, and tried. The next day I find phone in the car. And who is it? It's his phone taking a picture of her smiling like this in my Cadillac.
But I never did anything with her. I never touched her.
When I told him I'm over and he goes out with her on a date.
Just so you know.
So thank the Lord that I am not like you.
After the club run-in, Hilton reportedly returned home with Nick that night, a fact confirmed by Nick's attorney Marty Singer. According to Hilton's friends, she left Nick's home the next morning, but later appeared in paparazzi photos with visible bruises. This timeline fueled rumors that the injuries were linked to an incident during or shortly after her night with Carter. Nick denied any wrongdoing, while Hilton remained publicly silent about the source of her injuries, adding to the mystery. Hilton, known for her openness with the media, did little to downplay the attention. When asked about the bruises, she offered vague explanations, including a cryptic comment that the marks were caused by an accident, without naming names or providing further details. She simply stated that she was, quote, doing okay, and was happy to be single.
We just got in an argument. I was trying to leave his house, and he just got really mad. Just was grabbing me and pulling me. I don't really remember most of it, because I've had worse stuff happen.
NickCarter, for his part, vehemently denied any allegations of abuse, releasing a statement that he had, quote, never laid a hand on anyone. Further stating to MTV News, quote, if they need the media attention, let them do their thing. My family, friends, and fans know that this is not my character, and I would never hurt someone that I cared for or do anything like the malicious things they are claiming. Complicating the narrative, NickCarter claimed Hilton had cheated on him with her House of Wax co-star, Chad Michael Murray, who at the time was married to actress Sophia Bush. These allegations added fuel to an already volatile situation, with accusations of infidelity on both sides. In a move he later admitted was retaliatory, Nick revealed during a 2006 interview on Ryan Seacrest's radio show that he had hooked up with singer Ashlee Simpson as revenge for Hilton's alleged betrayal. Breaking up with Miss Hilton, Nick described Paris as a bad influence on him, citing her party lifestyle and flashy Hollywood image as a major source of his already impulsivity and recklessness. Stating, our relationship totally was based on distrust. She didn't trust me. I didn't trust her. He continued stating, Paris was the worst person in the world for me to hook up with. She fed my worst impulses as far as partying. Amid the personal turmoil, Nick was also navigating his career. The Backstreet Boys were planning their comeback after a hiatus, recording new music in Los Angeles and attempting to reclaim their place in the ever-evolving pop landscape. But for Nick, the pressures of reuniting the band were compounded by his growing desire to bring his fractured family back together, a mission that became increasingly urgent as their lives spiraled further out of control. Attempting to turn their turmoil into entertainment, the family and E! Network launched the reality TV show House of Carters. The show aired in October of 2006 on E! And promised a glimpse into the lives of Nick, Aaron, and their three siblings, Bobby Jean, Leslie, and Angel, as they moved into one house in an effort to rebuild their fractured family. While marketed as a family healing project, House of Carters ultimately became a raw expose of the Carter family's dysfunction. The show revealed deep-seated resentments, unresolved conflicts, and emotional scars that no amount of celebrity or wealth could mask. The most striking aspect of the show was the constant tension between the Carter siblings, particularly between Nick and Aaron. Evident in the first episode, the brothers often clashed over their past grievances, with Nick assuming a paternal role and Aaron resisting what he saw as unnecessary control. Their arguments frequently turned explosive, with emotions running high and long-buried resentments surfacing. AaronCarter, now 18, was also at a critical juncture in his life. The cute little kid, who had once charmed audiences around the world with his bubblegum pop hits like Aaron's Party, was now transitioning into adulthood. However, his career was in decline, and he was struggling to find his place in an industry that had outgrown the teen pop phase of the early 2000s. Aaron's life had been anything but ordinary. His childhood spent on tour and in the spotlight left him ill-prepared for the realities of adulthood. His sudden engagement to Playboy model Carrie Ann Paniche after knowing her for just 5 days exemplified his impulsive nature and the pressure he felt to be seen as an adult. The engagement, announced on stage in Las Vegas, was called off days later, further feeding tabloid headlines and public skepticism about his maturity and stability. Nick, aware of Aaron's vulnerabilities, felt a sense of responsibility to protect his younger brother. However, Aaron's growing independence and desire to break away from his child star image often clashed with Nick's efforts to guide him, creating tension between the brothers. Leslie Carter, the third of the 5 children, had experienced a career in music that never fully took off. In 2001, she released her single, Like Wow, which appeared on the Shrek soundtrack, but her debut album was later canceled, overshadowed by her brother's success. The show painted Leslie's journey as one of dashed dreams, depression, and a sense of loss, trying to find her way with the ambitions of being a singer. Leslie often expressed frustration and resentment in the house, believing that her brother's success came at the expense of the rest of the family. Her heartfelt confessions and emotional vulnerability painted a tragic picture of someone yearning for recognition and stability in a family consumed by the pressures of agony and fame.
You mope around this house all day asking for people to feel sorry for you, but we don't feel sorry for you.
Anybody to
We don't feel sorry for
Nick.
you.
I don't need anybody.
Leslie, we
I
don't
don't
feel
need
sorry for you.
anybody in my
You
life.
want it.
No, I don't.
Then why do you say
You
it?
asked me to come here.
Then why do you
asked me? I was happy. I was away from
Then why
you
do you
guys.
say
I
that?
was gone.
Then why do you say we hate you all the time?
Nick,
Why
I
do you
don't
say
say-
I hate this family? Why do you say that?
Maybe you should take that as a hint.
Why do you say that then?
Take it as a hint.
A hint? Because you do hate us.
Bobby Jean and Angel Carter brought contrasting perspectives to the mix, often attempting to mediate the constant infighting. BJ, the eldest sister, displayed visible exhaustion from years of familial turmoil, her patience worn thin by the endless cycles of conflict. Angel, Aaron's twin, played a more supportive role, maintaining emotional boundaries while still trying to bridge the gap between her siblings. While House of Carters attempted to humanize the family and present a narrative of reconciliation, it instead became a stark depiction of the toll fame and family dysfunction had taken on the Carters. Viewers were both captivated and saddened by the raw emotions on display. The show revealed a family trying to heal, but unable to escape the weight of their shared history and personal struggles. Critics noted the show's voyeuristic nature, questioning whether exposing such deeply personal issues for public consumption was ethical or beneficial for the family. For the Carters, House of Carters became another chapter in their troubled history, further solidifying their reputation as a family consumed by drama and unresolved pain. The Carter family's appearance on the Dr. Keith Abloh Show in 2006 was a raw and emotional exploration of their deeply fractured relationships. Coming on the heels of House of Carters, the episode brought the siblings together in an effort to address their long-standing family issues in a structured, therapeutic environment. The episode centered around the Carter siblings opening up about the dysfunction that had plagued their family for years. The sisters used the platform to challenge the family narrative, which had often centered on the brothers voicing their frustrations with the unequal attention and support they had received. BJ Carter, the eldest daughter, expressed her resentment toward the family dynamic that placed so much emphasis on Nick and Aaron's careers while neglecting the emotional and personal needs of the other siblings. She revealed feelings of being sidelined and unappreciated, often tasked with responsibilities that went unnoticed.
After Nick became famous, it got harder because, my parents were so focused on him and so focused on making the most out of it and making, let's get this and get this money and I want my percent and, this and that. Yeah. And it was like, I was basically, when I was 15 years old, I was basically like free reign to do whatever. I had a car. I mean, I was going to school, but, there were times, 3 days out of the week I didn't even go and they didn't ever notice.
Leslie Carter, the middle sister, who had her own brief stint in the music industry, discussed the pressure of living up to expectations and the challenges of forging her identity in a family consumed by fame. Leslie was candid about her struggles with self-worth and the toll of the family's public scandals on her mental health. Angel Carter, Aaron's twin sister, who seemed the strongest at such a young age, spoke of her role as a peacemaker and her desire to maintain harmony within the family. However, she also shared her frustration with being caught in the crossfire of conflicts between her siblings and their parents, often feeling powerless to bridge the emotional gaps.
I cannot speak about anything that's in depth because I don't know why.
I sit there and I go crazy because I can't talk about anything.
I find myself being mean a lot too to my boyfriend. Like we're all kind of like
mean, but I just
always on the defense.
I want to communicate, and I don't know how to.
How to do it.
I do not know how to
I
communicate
think that
at all.
we're used to always, like with our family, it was always defending ourselves. So we're always
And
used
trying to yell over.
who has the best line to come back with or something like that. So
Because there was
in our-
turmoil constantly.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that anyone loved you in an absolutely pure and unconditional way?
I don't remember the last time I felt like that, except for in a relationship or, you know, like a boyfriend.
With that though, I mean that's different. But with family, like with Nick is like the best brother ever. He really is.
He's really done something
here. He has
here.
made such a dramatic change from the way like it used to be. Like every time I call Nick, he answers his phone for me. You know what I mean?
That means so much.
It means so much. Like he is, you know, in this life. My family is all I have. These are my best friends. I don't have a lot of friends. I don't trust a lot of people, but these are my friends. And like, Nick is a role model for me. Like, I really look up to him, and I really admire him a lot.
The appearance on the Dr. Keith Abloh show was a bittersweet moment. It offered a rare chance for honesty and reflection, but also laid bare the challenges of healing in the face of years of unresolved pain. For the sisters, it was a step toward reclaiming their narratives and shedding light on the burdens they had carried in silence. After the release of his 2002 album, Another Earthquake, AaronCarter found himself at a crossroads. As the child star who once topped charts and charmed audiences worldwide, Aaron's career was beginning to wane in the mid-2000s. Struggling to navigate the often treacherous transition from child star to adult artist, Aaron sought guidance and mentorship. This search led him closer to Lou Pearlman, a figure who had played a pivotal role in launching the careers of boy band juggernauts like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, but whose reputation was marred by financial scandal and troubling allegations. Lou Pearlman, once celebrated as the mastermind behind some of the biggest acts in pop music, had a darker side. He infamously exploited the very artists he had helped build. Claiming to be the sixth member of these groups, Pearlman took advantage of their trust and pocketed a significant portion of their earnings. The Backstreet Boys, for instance, discovered that despite grueling tours and record-breaking album sales, including their self-titled debut album, which sold over 28 million copies worldwide, they had only earned $300,000 collectively between 1993 and 1998. Meanwhile, Pearlman pocketed millions. This revelation led to a lawsuit in 1998, with the Backstreet Boys claiming that Pearlman had stolen $10 million.
Normally, band profits would be split 5 ways. In these cases, the money was divided into 6 equal shares, number 6 being Lou Pearlman.
And he would be like, oh, I'm the 6th Backstreet Boy. Well, the boys thought it was a buddy thing until they actually saw the work and realized, okay, we have to split 6 ways here. Well, the boys were very upset. I mean, it got emotional. And they were hurt. You know, they felt that they were being betrayed by bringing in another group just like them to do this.
Lou's cloning opened the Backstreet Boys' eyes to the fact that a lot of money was coming in, but not going to them. When they had their contracts reviewed, they say their worst fears were realized. Big Papa was milking them dry.
I had not seen any contracts, in my opinion, that were as oppressive to the artist as this overall situation that he created. And it goes beyond the industry customs to the point of being absurd.
Meaning what?
What's left is these 5 guys have to divide 25 cents as opposed to dividing 75 cents. So that's where you start to see that it isn't fair.
And Pearlman's relationship with NSYNC isn't much better. In court documents, J.C. Chazet called Lou an unscrupulous, greedy, and sophisticated businessman who posed as an unselfish father figure and took advantage of our trust.
For AaronCarter, Pearlman represented both opportunity and controversy. In 2002, Aaron and his parents filed a lawsuit against Pearlman, alleging that the manager had cheated him out of hundreds of thousands of dollars in royalties. During a 2020 Vlad TV interview, Aaron revisited this legal battle, explaining, "My mom sued him, and we sued him for the masters, and I own the masters now to my first album." Despite winning that lawsuit and securing ownership of his masters, Aaron's feelings about Pearlman were complex and at times contradictory. When asked about the financial scandals surrounding Pearlman, Aaron offered a surprisingly defensive perspective, stating, "Why not? He put all his money and time, invested everything into that group, and gave them their careers that they still have today. I'm not going to be the one that's going to be like, oh yeah, Lou Pearlman's. No, I'm going to tell you the complete story. I like to pet sharks backwards." Lou Pearlman's legal troubles, however, extended far beyond mismanaging royalties. In 2006, Pearlman was accused of orchestrating one of the largest Ponzi schemes in U.S. history, defrauding investors of over $300 million. In 2007, after attempting to evade capture, Pearlman was apprehended in Bali, Indonesia, and subsequently pled guilty to conspiracy, money laundering, and making false statements during bankruptcy proceedings. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison in 2008. By the time of Pearlman's arrest, his image was further tainted by allegations of inappropriate conduct. Rumors began to circulate that Pearlman had used the boy bands as a guise for improper behavior. Vanity Fair's 2007 expose included testimonies from various sources, including Aaron and Nick Carter's mother, Jane Carter. Jane claimed to have warned other parents and exposed Pearlman's behavior, stating, "Certain things happened, and it almost destroyed our family." Though she stopped short of providing explicit details, citing concerns about her relationship with Nick, her comments suggested a deep unease with Pearlman's actions. A.J. McLean's mother further corroborated the unsettling rumors, recalling how Nick Carter's enthusiasm for spending time at Pearlman's home suddenly shifted. "There was a flip at some point," she said, adding that the Carter family had heard whispers of inappropriate behavior. Despite these allegations, and his family's own troubled history with Pearlman, AaronCarter staunchly defended the disgraced manager in public interviews. During the 2019 documentary The Boy Band Con, Aaron grew visibly agitated when questioned about Pearlman's alleged misconduct. "Shut up," he snapped, staring directly into the camera. He insisted the claims were baseless and a fabrication.
Pearlman project, and it's just so sad. It just hurts, man. It hurts to see people attack him and continuously attack him, because I go through the same thing. I'm going through it right now. He was a gummy bear.
Aaron's defense of Pearlman seemed to stem from a place of loyalty, perhaps forged during a time when he viewed Pearlman as a mentor and a source of stability in an otherwise chaotic life. In an attempt to revive his career, AaronCarter joined Dancing with the Stars in 2009, hoping the exposure would restore his prominence. Despite finishing in 5th place, his appearance failed to reignite his career, highlighting the entertainment industry's tendency to discard child stars as they grow older. The once bright star of Carter's youth began to dim further, replaced by a narrative of personal challenges, legal troubles, and substance abuse. Aaron's downward spiral became apparent in 2008 when he was arrested for marijuana possession after being pulled over for speeding in Texas. By 2011, Aaron sought professional help by entering rehab at the Betty Ford Center. While his representatives framed it as a move to improve himself, it signified the profound difficulties he faced transitioning from child stardom to adulthood while grappling with the lasting pressures of his early fame. The Carter family faced a devastating blow in 2012 with the sudden death of Aaron's sister, Leslie, at the age of 25 from a drug overdose. This tragedy deeply affected Aaron and further strained relationships within the family. Nick Carter notably did not attend Leslie's funeral, a decision that Aaron reportedly viewed as abandonment during a time of immense grief. Nick addressed his decision during an appearance on Dr. Phil, shedding light on the fraught dynamics within the Carter family. "I wanted to be at my sister's funeral, but my family has always had a complicated dynamic," Nick admitted. He revealed that the family had blamed him for Leslie's struggles and her subsequent death, a sentiment he described as deeply painful. Stating, quote, "I started to get blamed by the rest of the family. They were blaming me for the death," he explained. As the eldest sibling, Nick shared that he had often carried the burden of responsibility, including for the struggles of his younger siblings. The family's history of addiction further complicated matters, with Nick acknowledging that 3 of the 5 Carter children, including himself, had battled drug problems. Despite his absence, Nick expressed profound sorrow over Leslie's death, calling it the most horrific news I've ever heard. Struggling to process the loss, he admitted, "Still, to this day, I kind of don't believe that it happened." In 2013, AaronCarter filed for bankruptcy, citing debts exceeding $3.5 million, much of which was owed to the IRS. His financial troubles stemmed from mismanagement during his teenage years, coupled with a decline in income as his career faltered. Reflecting on his financial woes in a 2016 interview with GQ, Aaron shared, "When I turned 18, I got $2 million in trust fund money, and I got $4 million in taxes my parents didn't pay when I was 11 and 12 years old. I worked really hard for that money, my whole life, up until I was 18, doing thousands and thousands of shows, working and providing for my family." He contrasted his experience with that of his brother Nick, adding, "When my brother was 18 years old, he was out of the house, didn't take care of the family. I started when I was 7 years old and was a provider for my family too." His words reflected deep resentment and a desire to be seen as more than a victim of circumstances. The death of their father, Robert Carter, in 2017, added to the Carter family's already heavy burden. The loss further widened the rift between Aaron and Nick, whose relationship had become emblematic of Aaron's ongoing struggles. Public disputes and accusations between the brothers played out in interviews and on social media, painting a picture of a family unable to reconcile its differences. Nick's life seemed to move in a different direction, enjoying renewed success with the Backstreet Boys and embracing fatherhood with the birth of his son, Odin, in 2016. For Aaron, however, these years were marked by increasing turmoil. The contrast between the brothers' trajectories underscored Aaron's feelings of isolation and a lingering sense of being overshadowed and unsupported by his family. In 2017 and 2019, AaronCarter appeared on the TV show The Doctors, candidly discussing his struggles with mental health and addiction. He revealed that he had been diagnosed with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and multiple personality disorder. He also opened up about his addiction battles, including his efforts to quit smoking marijuana and his huffing addiction, a startling revelation he shared publicly for the first time. "It's something that I've kept secret from the whole world until now," he admitted. To manage the damage caused by huffing, Aaron explained that he was taking gabapentin and fish oil to repair the serotonin receptors in my brain. During the interview, Aaron revealed that his late sister, Leslie, who tragically passed away from a drug overdose in 2012, had introduced him to huffing when he was just 16 years old. While he didn't immediately embrace the habit, it became a destructive coping mechanism after he turned 23, particularly following his stint on Dancing with the Stars. "I was huffing because I was really stupid and sad, but this is really no excuse," he confessed. "I was huffing because I'm a drug addict." The interview underscored the gravity of Aaron's battle with addiction and mental health issues, which he acknowledged had profoundly affected his life. By 2019, his relationships with his family had reached a breaking point. His older brother, NickCarter, and Aaron's twin sister, Angel, filed restraining orders against him, citing concerns for their safety. Nick alleged that Aaron had exhibited erratic behavior and disclosed having thoughts of harming family members. Nick described the decision as one made out of love to protect his family, but Aaron saw it as betrayal. He took to social media to lash out at Nick and Angel, accusing them of lying and attempting to manipulate public perception. Aaron also claimed to own firearms for self-defense, which he displayed on social media, further fueling concerns. Amid this chaos, Aaron made allegations of his own, resurfacing a video from their family's reality show House of Carters, which showed a physical altercation between him and Nick. He also recalled a 2001 incident at the Kids' Choice Awards when Nick allegedly smashed a pie in his face during an acceptance speech. These accusations painted a picture of long-standing familial dysfunction that had played out both privately and publicly over the years. Despite these tensions, Aaron sought to redefine his life in 2021 when he welcomed a son, Prince, with his fiancée, Melanie Martin. Fatherhood gave him a renewed sense of purpose, and he often spoke about how much he wanted to be a good father. On social media, he expressed how becoming a parent had shifted his perspective and motivated him to confront his struggles.
He's precious. There's nothing like this, you know? Nothing. I've experienced a lot of cool things in my life. I mean, I've been everywhere. I've been Eiffel Towers and monuments and working with people, but there's nothing like this, man. Nothing like this. When he looks at you and, oh yeah, you looking at me? Is that right? You say hi? Want to say hi?
There was hope that this new chapter in his life could provide the stability he needed to overcome his personal demons. However, the challenges proved overwhelming. Addiction and mental health struggles continued to cast a shadow over Aaron's attempts at a comeback. In the final days of his life, AaronCarter appeared to be in a state of transition, both personally and professionally. He had listed his Lancaster, California home for sale, signaling his intention to start a new chapter in his life. The 7-bedroom, 4-bathroom house was put on the market about a month before his untimely death. On October 25, 2022, Carter shared his frustrations about the moving process on Instagram, writing, "Finally, out this. My garage is full of 6 bedrooms right now, and all of my stuff around 2/3 of it. I can't wait to move. Being a homeowner is a lot more difficult than y'all think, LOL." This post offered a glimpse into the chaotic nature of his life during this period. Despite the stress of moving, Carter remained active on social media, engaging with his fans and sharing snippets of his life. One of his final public moments came on November 3, 2022, when he went live on TikTok for nearly 2 hours. Fans watched as he chatted, played around, and even sang, a glimpse of the performer he had always been. There were moments of joy in his interaction, moments where he seemed lighthearted, as if the weight of his troubles had momentarily lifted. But beneath the surface, those who had followed his journey closely knew that all wasn't well. On the morning of November 5, 2022, a quiet Saturday in Lancaster, California, in his home, the life of former pop star AaronCarter came to a tragic end. At approximately 11 a.m., Carter's housekeeper made a devastating discovery. The 34-year-old singer was found submerged and unresponsive in his bathtub. The 911 call that followed was frantic, with the dispatcher instructing the housekeeper to begin CPR in a desperate attempt to save Carter's life. Paramedics rushed to the scene, but it was too late. At 11:14 a.m., AaronCarter was pronounced dead. In the bathroom and bedroom, investigators found cans of compressed air and prescription pills, grim indicators of the struggles that had plagued the young star for years. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner coroner's report, released on April 18, 2023, provided the final tragic details and stated that Carter's death was ruled an accident caused by drowning due to the effects of difluoroethane, a gas found in aerosol spray cans, and alprazolam, Xanax. The report also concluded that Carter had become incapacitated while in the bathtub due to the effects of these substances. Aaron's death shocked his family and fans alike. For NickCarter, the loss was particularly devastating. Despite their tumultuous relationship, Nick mourned his brother deeply, sharing an emotional tribute on social media. "Even though my brother and I have had a complicated relationship, my love for him has never ever faded," Nick wrote. His grief was compounded by the complex and unresolved nature of their bond, marked by both love and conflict. The Carter family, already reeling from the loss of their sister Leslie in 2012, faced another heart-wrenching tragedy. Aaron's passing underscored the toll that fame, addiction, and mental health struggles had taken on their family. Angel Carter's reaction to AaronCarter's death was a complex mixture of grief, acceptance, and a determination to create positive change. As Aaron's twin sister, Angel states she had a unique perspective on his struggles and had been preparing for this tragic outcome for years, revealing that she had been in therapy since her early 20s, anticipating Aaron's potential death due to his ongoing battles with addiction. Stating, quote, "I knew this day was going to come, and I think he knew it too," she shared, highlighting the painful reality of watching a loved one struggle with substance abuse.
It was almost like a guilt for his success.
Yeah.
That he
In a
felt
sense,
bad about.
yeah, definitely. Because he thought that the success, destroyed the family.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't his responsibility to carry all that weight. But when you are, I always say, like for Aaron, he was working like an adult.
Mm-hmm.
He had his innocence stripped away from him. And he would often be out on these long tours, year round, gone, just wanting to come home.
Yeah.
And, my parents would say, "Oh, just finish this tour and we'll buy you a boat. We'll do this, we'll do that." And they would with his money.
Right.
But he just wanted to be home. He just wanted to be a kid. He wanted to, make friends and
Yeah. Go play outside.
his innocence was not protected.
Aaron's story is a cautionary tale about the dark side of child stardom, a narrative shared by others like Britney Spears and Macaulay Culkin. Britney, who also rose to fame as a teenager, endured relentless public scrutiny and the crushing weight of expectation, culminating in her widely publicized breakdown in 2007. Similarly, Macaulay Culkin's meteoric rise as the star of Home Alone brought not only immense wealth, but also familial strife and personal struggles as he navigated adulthood. These parallel stories illuminate the vulnerabilities of young stars thrust into the limelight without adequate support. The fame and fortune that many dream of often come at a steep cost. The loss of a normal childhood, unrelenting public scrutiny, and a difficult transition into adulthood. AaronCarter's life was one of contradictions. He was a beacon of joy for fans, but struggled privately with pain. His tragic end serves as a somber reflection on the pressures of fame and the importance of mental health support, reminding us all of the humanity behind the headlines. The tragedies that have befallen the Carter family cast a long, somber shadow. Aaron's untimely passing in 2022, the devastating loss of his sister Leslie to a drug overdose in 2012, their father Robert's death in 2017, and the recent death of their sister Bobby Jean Carter from an accidental overdose all paint a heartbreaking picture of a family fractured by pain. These successive losses have not only highlighted the fragility of life, but also the devastating impact of unresolved trauma, addiction, and the relentless pressures of fame. The Carter family's story is one of extraordinary highs and devastating lows, a reflection of the hidden costs of stardom that often go unspoken. Fame, for all its allure, is an unforgiving force. It demands perfection, but it offers little support for those who falter. For the Carters, fame magnified their personal struggles and family dynamics, exposing them to a public eager to consume every detail, regardless of how painful or private. Their story also serves as a lens through which we can understand the challenges faced by today's young stars, like Billie Eilish and Justin Bieber, who have risen to immense fame in the digital era. Both Billie and Justin have spoken candidly about the psychological toll that stardom has taken on them. Billie, who achieved meteoric success as a teenager, has often shared how the intense scrutiny of her personal life and appearance affects her self-esteem. In interviews, she has revealed moments of loneliness and vulnerability, despite her acclaim as a global sensation. Justin Bieber, who rose to fame at an even younger age, has become a spokesperson for the emotional strain of being a child star. As a teenager, Justin was catapulted to superstardom, and his life quickly became a media circus. While he enjoyed unparalleled success, the constant pressure to maintain his image led to a public breakdown. In recent years, Justin has openly addressed his struggles with mental health, addiction, and the challenges of growing up in the spotlight. He has spoken about how fame created a bubble of isolation, where genuine relationships were hard to find and trust was scarce. Unlike Aaron, Billie and Justin have the benefit of a more open conversation about mental health in the entertainment industry today. The stigmas that once silenced stars like Aaron are being dismantled, making it more acceptable to seek help and speak about vulnerabilities. However, The core challenges remain the same: the loss of anonymity, the unrelenting judgment from the public, and the pressure to succeed at all costs. From childhood, Aaron and Nick were placed in situations where the pressures of performing, earning, and maintaining public personas took precedence over their emotional well-being. The result was a family dynamic strained by unresolved conflicts, addiction, and grief, a pattern that repeated itself across generations. It was once stated that fame may bring the world to your feet, but it does not guarantee peace, and often it obscures the most important truth of all, that everyone, no matter how celebrated they are, is human. First,